This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
And it's the third and final day of the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic, stop number 6 of 11 of the Sport Fishing Championship from Miramar Beach, Florida. It was calm. It is calm if you're dockside, but it's going to be a madhouse making their way in towards Baytown Marina this afternoon. They have to be there at 6 o'clock Eastern time, and they won't have to deal with any of the traffic. They're coming by water, and actually there should be some traffic on the water as well. Robbie Floyd with Peter Miller. Quantified sits on top right now, 1,900 points. A work of art. Made a hard charge there towards the end. Rising Sun's your top 3. Again, that's the way it stands right now unofficially, Peter.
That's right, and it looks like they have 12 billfish for Quantified. That is a lot of fish. When you look at 50 billfish caught and released thus far, and to have 12 billfish on one boat, that is some good stuff. Well done, Quantified.
That is unbelievable. We've been in the Gulf of Mexico before. This is our 4th time. We'll hit another time. We'll have a 5-stopper in South Padre Island later on this year. But look at this playing field. I mean, it is vast. You have the opportunity. We saw teams, their markers going hundreds of miles out, Peter.
That's right. From 100 to 200 miles, these teams are running all over the place. Some people found the fish, some people didn't. We're going to see at the end of the day what some people found, which I think are going to be some weighed tunas other than marlin, but a lot of boats caught marlin.
A variety of fish being caught, 3 different varieties of billfish, and it's all about that championship and the $1 million prize at the end. And right now, Mon Cherie is on top. 11 events in this championship. You're either fishing the Gulf or the Atlantic. We're going to crown a champion here very soon in the Gulf as well as the Atlantic, and that's worth another $100,000 payday.
Yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at, Robbie. 100 there, 100 in the Atlantic, 100 in the Gulf, and then we got $1 million overall. And then we have our championship fish, which are also worth $50,000 per fish.
Look at Quantified back in 3rd. They're going to jump up big time. Again, everything is officially unofficial, but they already have 1 win this season, like Mon Cherie. But with this event, if they take the victory, that could move them in, and it's going to be hard to beat Quantified. But again, it's the catch points that add up, and catch points has been what Mon Cherie has been living off of. That first stop with those 6 blue marlins, that's why they were on top.
It should be Damon Schwess, catch points. You know, that's what his middle name should be. We should call him Damon Catch Points Schwess.
But David Laurent in his substitute is doing pretty good. He got 1 blue marlin. That's worth an extra 350 points. Those are catch points that'll carry on throughout the season. Another team to look for is Team All In, another one of our championship contenders.
They're in their 55 Viking with 1 blue marlin. They're doing okay. They're sitting there in a nice corner there, nice edge.
1 blue, 1 white marlin in their catch this week. But again, everybody out there in that Gulf of Mexico, and you just keep adding those points up for the championship. Not inside our top 10, but they're looking to be after this stop.
That's right. You know, everybody's doing what they've been taught to do their entire lives. They keep getting better and better and better at it, and they're working their way up the leaderboard. Everyone wants a shot at that $1 million.
All In finishing tied for 9th with a blue marlin back at Orange Beach. They've done better than that here. The blues worth $350, the whites are worth $125, and they add up. You see the boats going out there, some ships, some rigs, some platforms. Those have been key here for the Gulf of Mexico.
It's really busy out there. And busy out there, it's kind of like we've talked about. It's a desert in some areas, and all of a sudden you come up on an oasis. This oasis is the platform. That's where the bait is, that's where the tunas are, and that's where the marlin should be, and that's what they're concentrating on.
All In based out of Orange Beach, Alabama, that 55-foot Viking. Blake Bridges, the captain on that boat, Greg Trenner. Doing a great job, as he's done in the other round as well. But you catch the bait fish, you keep them in those tuna tubes, and then you go out there and you try to catch the big boy. Yeah.
Marlin candy, and that reel right there is the reel that handles the dredge, which comes up, it's set at a perfect setting, so it comes up, it'll stop on its own. It's heavy weight, heavy gears, big equipment.
Go time for Greg Trenner. Again, we saw that they had 2 fish on the weekend. Again, he's done this before. He's a pro at it, sits in that seat. They will buckle him in. You have another member back there guiding that seat and swiveling that seat. Need to be pointed the correct direction.
He's a self-buckler, if you see. Everybody else kind of did their own thing. He buckled himself, and that's typically what I would do, you know. That's how I work. But, you know, these guys are obviously reeling fast because they're backing down the fish. They don't want to get it caught in the prop. His fish is going away, and that's why they're backing up. Their tuna tubes are breaming with bait, you know, and there's one to go back in there. That shows how good those tuna tubes are. Those baits will stay alive forever in those tubes. got a high water alert right there. We got a high water alarm. I hope all the doors are closed.
That's what you want to see, though. You want to see that wagging going on at distance, and hopefully you can close up that distance fairly quickly because your day is only so limited. That catch window is limited, and we saw that where we see a flurry of catches in that time frame. Get one, catch, release, go catch another.
Sometimes it's a game of inches, Robbie. When you're working on that fish, you're backing up to it, and you're closing that gap. If you miss that leader and that fish gets pissed off, it may dive down to the bottom. They may be in 1,000 feet of water, and they go deep, and it might be tough to winch them up, and that's when you have to do that rocking back and forth in that bucket seat.
And you see sometimes you just got to sit back, throw the hoodie up over your head. I'm sure the sun life will keep that sun off of him, but, he's got Carson Hall on board, Noah Miller, Jarrett Mitchell, Robert Piteo, and Chad Wold also on that boat.
Guiding that line on like a pro, up and down, rocking back and forth. Keeping that hand over top of the reel in case the line breaks. You don't want that rod smacking you in the forehead, so you always protect yourself because all the pressure, all the weight, everything is on that bucket seat. You see him putting his feet up on the gunnel there, kind of trying a different technique. That's when you're getting tired. You're doing different moves.
See the gentleman back behind, too, also angling when that fish moves over to the right. He swings him over the right. Don't want to get tangled up with anything. We've seen that before also with some stuff hanging off the sides of the boats, and that could have been the case right there. But again, another catch for Team All In.
From the first time we saw him, I'm going to guess he was 3,000 feet behind the boat, so I thought it would be longer than it was, but I think it only took 45 minutes. Man, our team's been fishing together for 5 years now, and nobody has to tell anybody to do anything, but it takes all 5 of them doing something and doing it right, and they all did it right, so I'm ready to get another one right now.
That's something you'll hear from the best teams that are out there. They don't have to say a word to each other. It's understood what everybody's job is, and they work together effortlessly.
There you see what they have done. The other teams in there, Benedetta this afternoon with a catch all in, released a white marlin, Rebecca, quantified, raise them up. It was a good day for catching. For day 3, for the third day and a limited day, they caught quite a few fish.
That's right, because you have to hedge your bets. You got to know when to stop fishing, and that is a tough call. Sometimes you break it down to the last 30 minutes, and you got to pick up and run while the other guys are still fishing and you're blazing past them on your way in, and it kind of hurts a little bit. It hurts your heart.
Just a quick count. I think I saw 14 catches on this third day. That's pretty solid. Again, they're all heading towards Destin. They'll have to head to that Destin Pass Bridge, be there or cross that bridge at 6 o'clock. Then they can hit the beach and have some cocktails a little after. Also see some of the weigh-in as well. The ECBC is the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic, the 20th edition, and we're glad you can be a part of it.
SFC coverage of the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic is sponsored by Seaholm Watches, by Smith Optics, and by Fish Razor Tournament Grade Tackle.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in, plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Remember, everything begins in the morning. Every story told is a fisherman's tale. We build watches tough enough to be a part of that tale. The perfect balance of beauty and brawn. We are Seaholm. Watches that last a lifetime. Seaholm Automatic, the official timepiece of the Sport Fishing Championship.
See it, live it, love it. The largest in-water boat show in the world, the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. More than 3 million square feet, fishing boats to super yachts, engines, accessories, learning experiences, and culinary delights. Save the dates, October 26th through 30th. Details at flibs.com.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent, this fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic is sponsored by Sword Fishing Products, by Publix, and by You Go.
Welcome back to the Sport Fishing Championship. The host is Sandestin Golf Resort. Golf and resort. You can do both, and you can actually fish from there as well. We've got Lifeline live as they're making their way back into the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic. Again, they have to cross that bridge by 6 o'clock Eastern, so they got about 45 minutes to do so. Josh Crum, Will Garner, Dennis McDowell, Lori McDowell, all on board. Opie Aikens handling that boat, based out of Panama City, Florida. Let's talk about another team, Salt Shaker. Or if it was Jimmy Buffett, it'd be a large shaker of salt. They catch fish. You like where I was going there?
That's right. That was perfect. I like salt. I'm a salty kind of guy myself. They're in a 58 Viking, and they have a blue Marlin, and they're fishing that drop-off right there in the DeSoto Canyon.
And again, these aren't exact points, but you can see what they are going for. Those drops, those edges, it is something you would look for. That's almost on any kind of fish, right? You need to see a little terrain change oftentimes.
Well, you know, sometimes it's a terrain change, or it is a school of bait, or it's a mass under your boat, or you're seeing something with your sonar equipment, or it's a visual spot with birds on with binoculars.
Team Sunrise, an update as well. 1 blue marlin, 1 sailfish, going to add to those points. I think they caught them all in the 7 o'clock hour on day number 1. So they were getting it done early, but things have dropped off since then.
That's right. Team Rebecca, we've got 63 F&S, beautiful boat. They're out of Texas. They've got 2 blues and 1 white and a sailfish. Look at that. We picked that one up.
And they kind of been building as the week went along. 2 blue marlin or 2 fish caught on day 2, and then 1 on this final day. Raise them up. Another team will be looking for a couple of blue marlin. Anytime you have a couple of blues, you know they're going to be adding up in those points, because we have a massive tie for 1 single blue marlin. You catch at least 2, you're jumping into that 4, 5, 6 range. You just need a little helper there. 1 sailfish makes all the difference in the world.
And that's the name of their boat, because you want to raise them up. You raise them into your spread, and then hopefully you convert and you catch the fish.
Raise them up is currently in 6th right now with those 2 blue marlin. Again, good enough for 700 points.
On their
tie for 6th place.
56 Sunny Briggs, that's what they're fishing on.
So a mid-range boat, not the biggest. We've got some that are 40 feet bigger than that out there. A couple of 92-foot Vikings. Southern Charm, we came into this event, all eyes were on them, right? I mean, them and Moncherie. Southern Charm was 2nd in the championship. Moncherie was leading not only golf, but the overall big picture, Peter.
That's right, and they're trolling through that area like we discussed earlier. They're going through those weeds, and that's where the bait's going to be, and that's where the fish are going to be feeding on those baits. But you have to get the weeds off your baits, because the fish will not eat if you have a speck of weed on your bait. It's not like a redfish. The redfish will eat with a clump of grass on it.
Yeah, they don't care.
Not a marlin. They say,
They don't care. Southern Charm looking to drop that 17th place finish at the last round in Biloxi. They had a third, and a 17th. Would they do it here? Again, everything we say is officially unofficial, but right now, the way it looks with that blue marlin, they're going to be tied for 11th place. 11 beats a 17. They're going to get more of it.
That's right. They could drop one off there in their 63 Hatteras with their cowboy hats, and most of the tournaments, there's one right there. And in this particular tournament, I believe they're wearing their baseball caps for the most part, so that's a good thing. Either way, they're catching fish.
Captain Landon steering them along with several other boats. Now, it's a vast expanse, the Gulf of Mexico, but unless you're just right there at the shore, they actually held pretty tight. You can see off in the distance, you can still see multiple boats as they ran out 2 days ago.
Yeah, when these guys are on the phone with each other, calling each other on the radio, they're like, listen, I'm gonna school a bait right now, come over and get them. And then it becomes, you know, who's gonna go where to deploy those baits. That's where they kind of get a little quiet with each other. But you see them getting the bait there in that rubber-coated net, treating it very gently, swinging them in, putting them immediately into the tuna tubes, wearing the bib to keep the slime on the fish just in case it touched a cotton shirt per se. You know, this is what you want to see. You want to see guys that are protecting their gold, and that's what they're doing. They're deploying a live bait right here off the back of the boat on that big bent butt rod, looking for the blue marlin.
Grant Davis on board Southern Charm with the fish catch on the blue marlin. You see the little bit of a wrap up there.
Happens all the time. Happens to me all the time. I got to jump around on my boat trying to deploy bait, especially when you have long leaders. It's difficult.
And if it happens, it's good to happen right then, not when you had, you know, a catch at that moment. Then it can get really ugly, but again, accidents do happen.
Exactly.
Now right here, we're going to see what looks to be a catch. We see the strike there, Peter, but that doesn't mean that he took the bait.
He came up to eat it, and he was trying to guide it down his mouth, like we talked about earlier, with his bill, trying to get it going down head first with the dorsal fin retracted, pecs retracted, and the fish slides right down, and it's perfect. Let him go away with it, lock it up, hop it in gear, and you're on.
Now, in a perfect world, you catch the bait fish out there on that platform or rig, it's somewhere close, you make that short run, and then bam, I've got a billfish here.
Exactly. Those baits are gold. If you don't have those live baits, you know, you're not going to succeed. So that's what it tells me, that a lot of these guys are working really hard at catching bait.
Let's take a look at the strike one more time.
Looks pretty good, you know, slack in the line. The marlin was able to come up and eat it. Looks like he looked like he got it, but it turned out that he kind of spit it out.
Well, you mentioned how sometimes I call it live bait, but it's really dead bait. It was once live. They'll have a little taster, you know, on the teaser like that. But you say they'll strike it with that bill and kind of stun it at times. Well, maybe that was the case. He just went to whack it and didn't really want to take it.
Yeah, he was getting, you know, trolled behind the boat. It had bumping in and out of gear,
right,
keeping that tuna straight. And then the marlin came up to get him, and the tuna eluded him, and that's what happens. He might have whacked him, he might have missed him, he might have been not that hungry, not that aggressive. They call them window shoppers. He was a little more than a window shopper. He was an almost buyer, but he turned out to be a non-buyer and left the store.
Well, this would be more like my wife. She would go ahead and do that shopping and you know, run that card.
So she would have been a release.
Yeah, he's caught.
Yes.
This one is caught for sure.
So when you've got the fish taking line right here, all you can do is just wait for it to kind of slow down or come up at the end and go greyhounding away with his miraculous, powerful jumps. And then he turns back at the boat, and that's when you're going to put the boat in gear, bumping away from the fish, taking up that slack, and you want to do it not too quickly. You want to do it methodically. You don't want to do anything crazy, and it settles back down, and you can see how he's up and down, kind of just pumping the fish back.
Think about it once again. This is the team second in the championship, and they caught this one blue marlin. That 350 points could put them in 11th place. This could be, even though it's one fish, it could be the one fish that could win them $1 million at the end of the year in Puerto Rico.
It just takes 1 minute to get back in it. That's all that we always say on the boat. And that's really important to just keep putting those points on the board no matter what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just try to get those fish consistently. At the end, you will be somewhere.
350 catch points for this fish, but again, the 11th event, you know, the event points, they're going to get 11th place. They're hoping to do better in Texas. They're hoping to do better in Puerto Rico, but those catch points will keep adding and adding in each and every stop. And this is the team who said they might not just fish the Gulf, because if they can get catch points in the Atlantic, they add up as well.
That's right. They talked about going up to the Atlantic, and that's a big move. They're going to use one of their buddies' boats, and they bring their team up there, and it'll be just like home.
It's a solid move by Southern Charm. Again, second in our championship and one blue marlin on the week.
We got it done, man. I mean, golly, we lost the fish earlier. Perfect, you know, beautiful, perfect bite. Everything happened perfect. We just didn't get a hook in them. Came back with a bait. That fish was down at 300 feet. Dropped the bait on its nose. It came from 300 to 20 feet in like 5 seconds. Just inhaled it. Everything was right. Got tight. Fish hardly fought at all until right there at the end. It was fun. Put on a show right behind the boat. Got her done. Got the release. On to the next one.
All right, well, you can see the captain there's, they got adrenaline pump and they're calm. They look like they're calm, but inside their hearts are thumping, and they just had an amazing moment.
Yeah, you see all of our teams where they were spread out on the venue here at the Gulf of Mexico. They'll be in a tighter line heading their way back to Destin and Sandestin Resort for the weigh-in. Peter, looking at this, and every fish counts. The one that gets away, I don't care what fishing tournament I've covered throughout my lifetime, there's one key word is execution. They didn't quite execute on the first one, and you could tell they're lamenting that a little bit, but they did execute on the second one.
Well, Robbie, sometimes that happens. You put the baits out, you do everything perfectly, and the fish comes up, he tries to eat the bait, and the bait does one huge tail kick. The leader touches the marlin probably in the face or something. Maybe the hook scraped his face, and the marlin said, you know what, I'm not really that hungry. I'm going to pass on this one. But luckily, they got another bite. They didn't give up. You never give up, and that's why those guys are always at the top of the leaderboard.
Well, we've still got more to bring you here on SportFishingChampionship.com. We're going to go on site with Site 1. Ronnie Moore, we get to talk to him for the first time this afternoon. I saw some rain moving in. I knew Ronnie would bring it, and oh, look at him. The dude's having fun. He's got a workcation going on, Peter. Get that man a remote control boat.
RC boats?
Yeah. Traxxas is loving it. They've got boat jumping contests going on out there in the Gulf of Mexico. We're also going to look ahead with Smith Optics and where we are heading next. Stop number 7, Cape May. I haven't been there yet. I know you've been there a time or two.
I fished out of that area. I've had some great luck, and I've seen some giant fish. We'll be back in a second.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
Sometimes saying no can be really difficult. It's hard to set boundaries, to give yourself space and time. Hopwater means never having to choose between having fun or missing out. A sparkling hopwater full of flavor and packed with mood-boosting benefits that's non-alcoholic with no calories, no carbs, and no sugar. So go out there and get up to no good.
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
Serious. You are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
SFC coverage of the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic is sponsored by Invincible Boats, by Gulf Shores and Orange Beach Tourism, and by Salt Life.
If I didn't know Ronnie Moore was playing with remote control boats, I would say that's him up there in the parasail, but it could be his wife. They're on the workcation this week at the Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Classic. in Miramar Beach, Florida. A lot of things to do, whether you're on the beach or out in the water trying to catch the mighty billfish. And there were a ton, over 50 billfish caught this week.
That's right. There's over 80 boats, 50 billfish. This is the 20th year of this event. Beautiful location, like you said, and the colors are vibrant from water to parasailing.
Smith Optics look ahead. We go to Cape May, known for their marlin, the yellowfin tuna by Invincible Boats. We also have the mahi mahi. Did I just stutter there?
No, you didn't. I didn't hear a thing.
Good. I didn't think I did. But the mahi, you know what? Mahi is so good you got to say it twice.
Yeah.
They're known to have some big mahi there as well for the South Jersey Boat Sales Showdown. How many times you figured you fished out of that area?
Well, I grew up in the Northeast, in New York and New Jersey, exactly, and I used to go on the headboats. Remember the captain told me, Peter, you want to take the wheel? And I was like, well, okay, let's set the
I'm 12.
GPS. I'm like, but I'm 12. I said, how fast are we going? He said 10 knots. So I'm like, I think I can handle that.
I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. Maybe he'll let you take a ride then the next time you go back up there. You see the size of some of these boats. It looks like a live shot as they're bringing them back to the marina. Again, they all took off on Thursday to Baytown Marina. Over 80 boats in this 20th edition. Been paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout the year. I think their biggest payout was over $600,000 back in 2019. And it just takes time that took that title. But skin deep, 2 blue marlins, 700 points, adds to their total for the year. Great job. I think it was, Sam Haley as well as Brett Green getting both of those catches. Excellent job.
Yep, and they're in their 63 Scarborough.
See ya. I would want to be. I'd love to catch a blue marlin. You see their totals. Lewis Richard, I know he's got at least one of those.
That is a beautiful boat, a 74 Spencer. That's the creme de la creme right there.
Luke Richard, I think another angler. We didn't have the other catch, but Luke Richard as well as Lewis, strong running by them. Cold Motion, what do they have?
Well, they've got 2 blues and 1 white, if I'm not mistaken, unless something has changed since we looked at the leaderboard.
Looks like Brooks Delaney, I know, with a catch. Cold Motion coming on the second day as well. Day number 3, Brooks Delaney with a catch. Again, 825 points for that team.
And they're fishing in their 60 case. And yeah, work of art. That's a big mama right there. That is a 92-foot Viking out of Alabama, and they've got 3 blues and 1 white marlin, giving them 1,175 points. They are feeling very, very good right now.
You know what that means. With that catch, it moves them up to second place, pushing them past Rising Suns, who's in this championship hunt. So a work of art with a strong finish here. They still got Texas. They can go to Puerto Rico. I mean, that's a good push on this final day. But Team Rising Suns, the 1,050 points means that they finally caught those blue marlin they've been looking for.
That's right. They're in their 58 Viking, and then you got Mr. Cricket Crochet up at the helm there, and they're all looking and waiting. And there's their go-to Froggy.
We got to figure out the mascot's name, don't we?
Yeah.
Rising Suns, though, they were looking for that
Toby.
drop. They had a 9th place drop, but this 3rd, you add that to the 6th and the 7th, very consistent. I know they wanted 2nd, but 3rd is a big improvement on a 9th place finish early on.
Oh, for sure. That's the way to do it. They don't give up. Everybody in this business has a never give up attitude.
They were 5th in the championship. We know Jacelyn Berthelot. She's caught many fish on the Sport Fishing Championship. She does it once again here in Destin.
That's right, and the nice thing about this particular moment, if I recall, it's kind of a fun-size marlin. It's not that giant monster, and that's the kind of fish you want when you want to get a quick release. Some of these smaller fish, you can get on them real quick. But every now and then, you'll get a real ornery 125-pounder that will take you a long time, and they'll sound down. But she's got the great technique, hand on top of the reel, guiding the line. She's got her glove on. Nobody, you don't want to have blisters. You're out there for 3 days. You're damp. You're fighting fish. Your hands are wet the entire time. Smart move.
Sure, Toby probably taught her a thing or two through the years. I know that your kids like to fish out there. It's best to learn the correct way right off the bat instead of doing the wrong thing for an extended amount of time. And she shows you how to work this fish in, and a big head shake, everything. She does everything right.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a golf swing, Robbie. If you're going to start playing golf, take a few lessons first. It'll change your life.
What do they say about basketball? Watching professional basketball as well as golf. You want to see how to do it right, watch the women's game as well.
Okay, there you go. Women are phenomenal anglers. That's what all the captains always say. And when I have women on my boat, it's the same thing. They're just doing their thing, and they do it well. Doing it and doing it and
there
doing
you
it
go.
well.
You were representing Queens. I was raised down in Brooklyn. I know where you were going.
Yes. And there's the leader touch, so that's the release right there. We got GoPros coming in, we got the head cam, we got the stick cam, and there we have a tagging stick mixed with a leader cutter on the same stick.
We haven't talked about that much, the tag. Why is that for?
Well, then you can record it with the Billfish Foundation and you can track that fish's progress. I caught one that was caught in Puerto Rico. I caught it in the DR 2 years later. We pulled the tag out, re-tagged them, sent it in. They said, Peter, this fish was caught 2 years ago.
That's awesome. Great catch.
Designated.
Woo! All right, let me sneak by you. Nice. Good job, guys. Good job, Jason. All right.
Woo! I'm ready to catch another one. It's coming up. We're going to do good. I know they got more out here. So.
And she did just that as well. That fish was dancing. She dances on the boat. She went from LL Cool J to Will Smith. She was getting jiggy with it.
She was. I believe she has a billfish dance. A lot of these teams, there's always someone on the boat that will do a billfish dance. You normally don't catch me doing one, but, you know, if it would change our luck, I probably would get into it.
Oh, there it
goes.
is.
There it goes.
You knew it was coming. Jacelyn Berthelot, and yeah.
It's cute when a woman does that. I don't know.
Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging.
On TV and everything. It's like,
only thing worse than that is raising up a Marlin flag before you get back.
You got to touch your hair, you know, when she doesn't hit you. You got to kind of pretend you're fixing your hair.
Hey, what guard are you using on your hair these days?
I'm using the 3 to 7.
Okay, just checking. Quantified. Oh man, what a job they've been doing. 7 white Marlin, 2 blue Marlin. They also have sailfish. When you look at their finishes, and they took a win before, they had the most whites, they had the most sails, but they were missing the blues. Here, they have just as many blues as almost anyone out there. They also have 7 whites and the sailfish. They keep doing it differently than the rest of the crew.
It's like the Miami Dolphins back in the day with the perfect season. They did it all. It was like perfection. They executed and they conquered, and they're coming in with 1,900 points and 12 billfish. That is remarkable.
They started off the tournament with a catch. They caught the first blue Marlin. That's an extra 100 points. We see the people starting to gather as they make their way back to Baytown Marina. This is an event. It is a spectacle. Not only, it's kind of like I got to, you know, when we announced the Sport Fishing Championship at the Miami Boat Show, this is a boat show as well, but the gun show is about to happen when they bring in some of these championship fish as well as the event's big fish as well. The ECDC standings as we see it right now, again, everything is officially unofficial. A couple of teams, as far as catch points, over that 1,000-point marker. That's big. You need over 1,000, and making the most of it is Quantified. They were about 2,200 points behind Moncherie in the championship, and that's how you make up ground fast. Only 200 points difference. We know Moncherie has 1. So, again, you make up 1,700 points in one fell swoop, you have done something.
Yeah, that was quite a comeback by a work of art. That was pretty impressive. And like you said, this is a fanfare. People are coming here. 1,000 people are showing up at this event. They're having food, they're having drinks, they're watching everything that's going on. They're greeting the anglers and the boats that are coming in. And it's a family event. It's a beautiful location, and the fish were caught.
Absolutely. I look at it, I write down a few things. Passionate. These fans are passionate. The anglers are even more passionate. It's a competition. There's no doubt. They're out there to beat their buddy. I mean, there's tons of friends. It's a group. It's like a fraternity, right? And they're out there to kick that guy's tail. And there's one team that can say, I kicked everybody's tail this week.
That's right. And there's a lot of money up for grabs. There's over $2 million up for grabs in this tournament alone. They have 27 optional categories. So there's a lot of chances to win some dough. You might have caught 12 fish. You might have caught 4 fish. But if you're in those categories, you could win a lot of money.
Absolutely. Let's go on site with Site 1, Ronnie Moore. We saw him with the remote control boats just a moment ago. Now he's just down to the coffee cup, and he goes for another Salt Life Fun shirt. He's taking my wardrobe before we get to Martha's Vineyard. But, Ronnie, I want to talk about what we've been seeing, not only out of Quantified, but Southern Charm helping their chances, knocking off a 17th place finish. Now it looks like they've went to 11th. Rising Suns helping their cause. I mean, even a work of art, they're now in it with that second place finish because we still have a couple of events left that they can improve.
Hey, I just had to let you guys know that I am living the salt life this week. I wanted to rub it in one more time that I am here in Destin and you guys are not. But the hype here at the weigh-in here at the Baytown Marina is definitely palpable. You can feel the energy and excitement. Seeing Quantified, that has just been the buzz throughout this entire tournament, is how dominant they've been. I mean, guys, they came into the event 2,200 points behind Moncherie. They're going to possibly leave this event over 2,000 ahead. Rising Suns, big-time work today. a top 3 finish. They've been oh so consistent. They needed one upper echelon finish. They're doing that. Jacelyn Berthelot and obviously Captain Cricket keeping that team steady Eddie going into South Padre Island, Texas for the last golf event. Before going to Puerto Rico, it's a very tight race. We went from having maybe 5 or 6 teams within 5,000 points to now we're going to have the top 4 within, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 points. It's very tight in the top 5 now.
Well, Ronnie, I just heard that Code Blue is hooked up as we speak. Are you getting that information over there?
Yeah, that would be exciting because, I mean, they only have a short amount of time to get in, don't they?
Well, that's what's interesting, guys, is we thought this was going to be a tournament of long runs, but some guys said, hey, the fish in Florida close to Destin, they're very accessible. The first upwelling that we see on Hilton's Navigator isn't that far away. It's only 70, 80 miles. The deal with these teams that decide to stay close, a lot longer fishing time. We saw our first blue marlin catch and release by Quantified earlier than any other tournament we've seen this year, other than the DR where they were only 15 to 20 miles offshore.
Right.
And then we're obviously seeing late catches as well and releases. Team All In with a white marlin 345. I mean, they've been running for hours normally at that point in the day, but still able to hook and release a fish at 345 before a 6 p.m. check-in. That is incredible. So we're going to see maybe some more updates that change it, but there's a huge tie that involves Mon Cheri, Southern Charm for this event. Basically tied for 11th. One of those teams catches a fish, they're going to get a bunch of extra points over a whole group of people that are from 11th to 20th.
Will be interesting to see if Code Blue does have that catch and get back in time. I think they got about 25 minutes to cross that bridge. But let's talk about what you're seeing and around you. I know we've got water in your backdrop, but now we see what's in front of you there. Massive crowds on hand. It looks like they're playing our video on sportfishingchampionship.com as we speak, but they want to see the big fish. What have we heard about our championship fish? Is there a big yellowfin tuna by Invincible Boats to be had today?
One thing that was interesting, Robbie, when I was walking the dock yesterday evening after our live hit, I saw a random local fisherman wheeling in a yellowfin tuna. Looked like a decent size, maybe not 206 to take over second wins, ranking from the last event, but the yellowfin definitely live here. I know that a lot of teams are thinking about the wahoo. I talked to Matt Klosterman earlier, and he said we had a 90-pounder on this dock this week, wahoo-wise. And then also down in Venice, where some of these teams are, you hear the roar of the crowd. There's definitely some fish being weighed over there, so wahoo could break it. And we know Team Bandito, they're not going to brag about a fish unless it's upper echelon. They have a mahi aboard that might break that 40-pound mark that's set right now. So we're going to see $50,000 championship division fish come through and maybe hold after this event for the rest of the year. We will see.
That would be awesome. Bandito has that fish again. They're in it for the Bill Fishing Championship or the Sport Fishing Championship, but also that championship fish as well. They've got a 2nd and a 6th, and that brings me to the points. How we've had that swing. And still, when you can have those dropped events, you can have a bad one here and still have a good one at South Padre Island. But we saw a lot of movement, and we haven't even heard anything from team like Breathe Easy, who has a 2nd and a 6th. They just need one more good one. It's going to be tight till the end, isn't it?
That's what I kind of deemed Ronnie's radar, was those 3 teams that maybe weren't at the top. We had Mon Cheri, Southern Charm, and Quantified at the top 3 coming into this event. You had Breathe Easy, Bandito, and Skin Deep that needed a 3rd event. 2 of those doing that, but like I mentioned, Quantified going from 2,200 points down to 2,000 points ahead projected after this event. That is a massive swing because we're also going to their home field in South Padre Island, Texas for the final event of the Gulf Division. At minimum, they could win $100,000 for just Team of the Year for the Gulf, maybe $1 million if they go to Puerto Rico as well. You think about Mon Cheri, they're in it now for the long haul. Their plans have changed. We should see them in Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, Southern Charm, they could be getting catch points in the Atlantic as well. There's going to be a lot of teams that we think about going forward, but man, to gain almost double the catch points you had for the season. Quantified had 1,900 catch points coming into the event. Having almost 1,900 in just this event, that is something that you need. A giant event like this. Mon Cheri had it in Louisiana. This is huge for Team Quantified. Possibly, if it stands officially, their 2nd win out of 4 events in the Gulf.
Yeah, Ronnie, you know, it looks like the variety of fish that Quantified has been tackling has really catapulting them all the way, and they just keep jumping up. To get 2 firsts, that's so impressive. You just got to sit back and go, what are they doing differently than the rest of the fleet? We really need to figure out what's going on. I mean, as an angler, as a viewer, we want to know something. We're going to have to talk to them at some points. It could be the special sauce, pickles on an onion sesame bun, or something like that.
One thing that's interesting, guys, you guys mentioned that they're doing it differently. All 3 species are factoring for them. We think about their 2 possible victories. They have, I think, 8 white marlin, 10 sailfish, and I think 3 blue marlin to their tallies for those 2 events combined, which was the Gulf Shores and Alabama one, and obviously this one this week in Miramar Beach. So honestly, I don't know what their recipe is that's different than everyone else, what they've dialed in on their charts and mappings, and maybe just instinctual knowledge. We got to remember, there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of moon phases, a lot of things you can pull from, but also these guys have 20-plus years experience fishing these same waters, knowing all these rigs, the different fads, the drill ships, all of these different rips. There's so many different factors. You can plot out your own place, and I'll say, for the biggest events of the season, Quantified has showed up the most teams in these tournaments that maybe overpopulate some of these blue marlin hotspots. They're able to gain a lot of points and not die. You know, they're the do or die. They're not dying by these white marlin and sailfish. They are carrying them until they find that 1 or 2 blues that really propel them.
Thank you, Ronnie. Again, on site with Site One. Great job. Now continue that workcation. Where are we going next? Let's take a look ahead. Smith Optics always gives us that great view, but Peter, when we go to Cape May, New Jersey, we're looking at a different bunch, a different fleet. Yeah, maybe some of those Florida guys move up north, but this is going to be different waters, a totally different way of doing things.
There's a lot of big fish, you know, there's a lot of big tunas, and there's a lot of marlin eating those big tunas, so the marlin are huge over there.
South Jersey Yacht Sales will be in Cape May. They've been doing it for a couple of years now. Martha's Vineyard will be followed by the next week in Montauk, New York. And you can always follow us on sportfishingchampionship.com. We get to take a week off, Peter. I know you're going to go fishing. I'm going to go golfing. I need to go down to Sandestin. On behalf of Ronnie and Peter, I'm Robbie. We'll see you next time.
A day out on the water could go great, or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough, or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Some call it joie de vie, the joy of life. In Louisiana, it's our way of life. From music that shakes up your senses to food that wakes up your palate. That joy vibrates in every note we play and spices up every meal we serve. So come live life to the fullest. Come one, come y'all, come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm Sean Ardway, inviting you to plan your trip at louisianatravel.com.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
Slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.